Hello, welcome to this market forecast and analysis. Going to start off with FX and then move on to some crypto at the end. Go start off with clean charts and work our way down from the weekly down to the daily and down into the lower time frames just to have a look at the instruments I'm most interested in trading. So starting off with the DXY here. I am bullish on this, as I've mentioned in previous videos. Just going to mark out some support and resistance. So resistance here, resistance and support. You can see we've come down, taken out this weekly low and reacted. So I am bullish on this instrument and we'll be looking to get long on any pullback in the other instruments. EURUSD is probably one of my favorites to look at along with pound. So we'll go and look at EURUSD weekly time frame. As you can see, we've taken out a few weekly highs and reject it, so I'll be looking for more downside. Down to parity, I'd say again would be a nice target. So let's take a look at the daily time frame. We know that this has just been ranging for some time. I did prefer if we ran up to this level, so let's just put up another level here. So around 1.035, it would make sense if we come up, cleared these stops, get back below and then look to sell, but we're just stuck in this range at the moment. So either way, I'll be looking for previous weekly highs to go, or looking to get in on a break, a retest to try and get involved. It is tricky because if we go down into the hourly, we can see the price action. Let's just zoom in here. For the past few weeks, you'd have to be very nimble in these markets. As you can see, this range not giving much away, but we can see that if we take this previous weekly high, that is a good opportunity to get in there for a sell-off, and that's what I'll be marking out. Just keeping it simple, I'll be marking out this weekly high. If we come up, take that high, maybe come into a higher time frame level and then break back down, I'll be looking to sell. I think that's the two levels I'm just going to have on my chart. I'll put them on now. Just this weekly high, weekly low. Have to be careful with the weekly lows though, just because we are in a range bound market. You can see that once any high or low has been taken, that we just sort of reverse, and yeah, you have to be sort of careful. If I'm going to get in based off a weekly low, I would like to see a strong push and then a pullback and then look for a reaction at that level. I'm not just going to be selling straight at support. So preferably a move up to sell into, but we'll just see what price gives us and take it from there. Let's move on to pound. So on the weekly time frame, we do have price coming into resistance. So these candles opens and closes, and we'll put another level on these candles. So we have an area support, could turn to resistance. You can see price came up, took previous weekly high and rejected. So any pullback on the pound, I will be looking to sell. So let's go down into the daily, see if we can get any, we can get some structure here. Looks like we've finally broken that. Support. We've got this closing on Friday. Obviously NFP driven. So any pullback, I'll be looking to sell. I'll be marking out, let's mark out previous weekly highs and weekly lows. Previous weekly highs a bit far away, so I'm not really too interested in that. I'll mark out the weekly low, just in case we get a run away. So I'll break and retest to that level, just to get short. So my bias is bearish in this instrument. We just have to let price action dictate how we're going to get into the trade. As you can see, over the last few weeks, price action has, it's all been news driven basically, and it's been pretty tough to get involved if you've got a bearish bias. You see this sell-off, snaps back in, sell-off, snaps back, huge sell-off here, just comes and takes this, we'll move out. We have NFP, so I'm expecting this to pull back as well. So yeah, you're just going to have to be patient, and sooner or later it's going to break. But I think my bias is correct in looking for pound lower and EURUSD lower. Another instrument I would like to look at is dollar yen. Out here on the weekly chart, you can see that we have come off some previous structure, so resistance here has turned to support. I would mark out this candle close and this candle open, as that's obviously supporting the lower time frame. So any pullback close to that level, I'll look to get involved. This is quite the bullish candle in a market that is very bullish, so any pullback I'll be looking to get involved with. Let's go down into the daily, see if there's any. Yeah, there's not much to work with here. You can see we swept these lows and reacted, so any pullback we can try and get involved with. Go down into the hourly. This looks like a pivotal week, and we'll mark out this previous weekly low and line it up with this previous weekly high. So general area support here, you can see it pushed up, resistance pushed down, resistance pushed down. So any pullback we'll be looking for longs from 133.00, or if we break up with momentum, and then I'll be looking for higher prices in dollar yen. Let's take a look at Kiwi weekly chart again. Going to take in these candles closes and opens, just because acted as support here, didn't break through it here, didn't break through it here, then we did break through it, resistance, resistance, and we broke through that. So you can see we've got a raid of this candle and now a raid of this candle. Quite a bearish looking sign once we take candle wicks and reject, candle wick, reject. Just like here, you can see one candle wick takes out the other, get a reaction, and then on the third one we get this huge reaction to the upside. So could it be the same this way? That's what I'll be keeping an eye on. I'll be looking for more downside. On the daily, there's not really much else to go off, so we'll just go down to the hourly and take a look at price action here. We can see that this weekly low is acting as support, but let's just take in this previous weekly low as well. Support, we have support here, support, support, support. If we're bearish, this break, retest, use the previous support as a resistance and try and get involved with a move to the downside. If we come higher, then we have this weekly level that we can look to get involved with in selling. I'm just giving you my bias. My bias is to the downside. I'm just looking for new lows on everything, so just take it low at a time. And what I mean by that is just go to your charts. What's the most obvious low here? You don't need to go for the exact low, you can just use the candle closes. So there's many times we'll look like we're coming to take out lows and actually turn just before them. So look at the candles open and closes may help you. If we take a look at euro yen, now this depends on, is yen going to be strong or weak? I want to pair it up with something that I think could be very weak. So we have a little level of resistance support here. So this is a level I'm keeping an eye on, and if we get some yen strength, then we could see another move to the downside targeting these lows. Let's just take a look on the hourly. Yeah, there's not much to go off there, so we'll just take in some structure and we'll just follow structure up. We can follow structure up to that level, see what happens on this structure if we break, and then we can get involved with the move to the downside. I'm just looking for structure to break so we have momentum to the downside. I don't really want to be taking a sell straight into this support. Wait for it to break, use it as a resistance, and then look to get on board a trade. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. Start off with a fresh chart on the weekly. I do have a few levels on the higher time frames, but my bias is bearish. We'll mark this out because that pattern that I showed you, where we raid one wick, so one candle high, reject, we could have another candle rejection, and then look for that selling opportunity. At the moment, we're still in a bullish pullback, but I think there is still more downside to be expected. If we go down to the H4, we can have some structure to keep an eye on. So if you're not watching it, you can just keep an eye on the structure break. So we're getting a little bit of consolidation here, but if we break out and retest this consolidation from the underside, then we can look for this low to go and then look for this low to go. You don't really need to be greedy with your targets, just take each low as it comes, because you'll find once you ever take a lower high, the market's going to pull back. So you can see significant high, comes up, pulls back, significant high, we still get a retracement even though we go higher, significant high, takes it, moves away. So yeah, that's why I'd be taking my take profit even just before those lows. You don't really need to get the exact low. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Let's just stay on the daily. We have that monthly high. I'm going to clean that off. You can see support, 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 and this could be resistance. All you have to do is go down into the H4. What is holding up this market? This support here. If that breaks, opens up opportunities for the next level to come into play. Just before this low, around 1419.96, so 1420 basically. Break, retest, look for that level. If it breaks, then we're on to the next one. So that's a level that I'll be looking to sell. Either we break structure, or we come up, sweep this high, this monthly high, and then break down. So that's all I've really been looking at. We'll see. The last few weeks have been quite tricky. We've just had news event after news event, and yeah, as you can see in the price action, it's been very choppy. But I think there will be a few opportunities to get involved with longer term trades soon. But at the moment, it seems to be just little day trades that seem to be paying well, and something that I'll just look into more until these huge opportunities come again. So that's what I'm looking at this week. I'll let price action unfold a little bit, let Monday's range unfold, and then have a look at other instruments. But just like at the start every week, I just want to have a look at the main instruments I'm looking to trade. And I'll wish you a profitable week.